Self-awareness is a superpower. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. This video is about your rising sign. So you're going to need to know exactly what time you were born in order to get this placement. I'm going to put a link in the description box for a natal chart calculator. This link will take you to a site that will take in all your information and then give you a chart of your rising sign and some other information. So yeah, you're gonna need to know your birthday and the location and exact time of birth in order to get this calculation. And our rising sign is it's a super important placement. It also has an influence over our personality, just like our sun sign and our moon sign, except our rising sign is how people see us when they first see us. I like to consider the rising sign as our representative, how we like to represent ourselves. And I feel like if we look back to childhood and the way we perceive our household, that has a strong influence on how our rising sign develops. And I say that, but at the same time, after studying astrology and numerology for some time, I truly believe that we do choose our parents and our circumstances in order to gain the experiences that we need. Because you can look at a child's natal chart and kind of see the different influences that's going to be a part of their life, a part of their life experience, into molding them to be who they aspire to be in this life. So I feel like based on our rising signs and other placements like that, it's like we have the perfect parents. Whether we might consider them to be horrible or whatever, we have the perfect parents. We have the perfect parents who will influence and mold us into the characters that we are. So yeah, our rising sign, like I feel like our childhood plays a big part in helping us to stand into that role, stand into that mold. So when you think of a person's rising sign, think of the outside of a house or a building. So it's like, imagine on a street there's this beautiful house, but on the inside of the house, it looks like a house on the outside. But on the inside, maybe it's a doctor's office, or maybe it's like a reform house for people who came out of prison, but looks like there's cookies being baked in there and just like a whole warm, loving family vibe in there. But on the inside, which that could be our moon, will be seen on the inside. But on the outside is pretty much our rising. And I find that a lot of the times when we meet other people who share the same zodiac sign as us and we feel like, whoa, me and this person have nothing in common. Our rising sign plays a big part in that, because even though you might share the same sun sign, your representatives are different. You like to represent yourselves differently. And our rising sign shows people, like, it gives it's our way of presenting ourselves, but it goes deeper than that. It goes as deep as influencing our thoughts and how we keep up these image. Because say if your rising sign is, say like Virgo rising, that's my rising sign, and you come off as someone who is pretty much detailed, organized, consistent, who appear to have your life together, even if you really don't have your life together, your rising sign is going to influence you to keep that going. But not just influence you, it is also a part of you. So yes, you keep up the image, you try to keep up the image of your rising, but that energy is also a part of you. It's like a piece of a puzzle that goes together with the other placements to make up the whole. So yeah, this rising energy is also embedded in you, but keeping up your image is what helps you to activate and to pretty much keep getting better at this energy. But it is also a big part of your personality and who you are. Capricorn on the ascendant. To have a Capricorn rising means that you are seen as someone who is very ambitious. You are seen as someone who is very goal-oriented, and you are a go-getter. And you might be watching this and saying, well, I have a Capricorn rising and I am none of that. And the reason for that might be for the simple fact that you might feel so overwhelmed with responsibility because Saturn rules the sign of Capricorn, and Capricorn is a sign that is very responsible, you know, very traditional and responsible. So the way how things used to be done is very important to you, and then taking charge and taking care of the collective is collective, meaning your household and the people who you care about, is also important to you. But thinking about all that could be so overwhelming that it causes you to procrastinate. And because of the procrastination, you might be paralyzed in thought. And I find that procrastination comes from one or two things. One, we're trying to do something that we really have no interest in, or two, we are overwhelmed because we don't believe that we have what it takes. So if you are a Capricorn rising and yeah, you don't come off that way, that is because maybe number two, you feel like you don't have what it takes because the responsibility of all that you want to accomplish just seems so overbearing, overwhelming. But with Capricorn on the rising and the ascendant sign, people see you as a hard worker. People see you as someone who is super ambitious, someone who is responsible, someone who they can depend on to get things done. Capricorn is a cardinal feminine sign. Feminine signs to me represents introversion, even if you are extroverted. For me, introversion meaning you gain energy from within. So being a feminine sign and gaining energy from within and being cardinal represents for me sudden and unexpected changes. Also like being impulsive in a way, and that is because the cardinal energy is the initiating energy, the one that starts things. So with all that being said, people might see you as someone who doesn't come off friendly, someone who might seem a little bit cold or distant, and that cold and distant energy comes from being introverted, being within yourself. So you might be within yourself, within your head, observing yourself, questioning yourself, challenging yourself on why you're not accomplishing what you're accomplishing. But to other people, it might come off as if you're cold and just uninterested and even a little mean. And practical energy, being an earth sign, you're pretty practical in the things that you do, and practicality can come off a little bit cold at times. So imagine you being practical in action but within yourself. So because you're practical and within yourself, you come off just like super cold and just distant, when really on the inside you're filled with emotions and you're warm and loving and whatnot. But it's hard for people to see that, observing your representative, your outer exterior, your rising sign. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn is a tough father to have. I've said that before and I'll probably keep saying that. Imagine Saturn as the kind of parent who doesn't care about your feelings, doesn't care about what you want to do. They care more about you taking on your responsibilities in this life and you getting better at the things that you are responsible for at any means necessary. You know, so it's like Saturn doesn't care if you want to cry and take a break. No, get in there and get it done. Saturn also represents, like, I like to call Saturn the demolition. Saturn will break down wherever it is and keeps building it up until it gets better. So maybe early in life, the way people see you compared to who they see you as you grow older will change. So maybe early in life, people might not have seen you as someone who is responsible and someone who is, you know, a professional. But as time goes by and you keep going through different things in life, Saturn will build up your image and people will start to see you as someone to look up to, someone to admire, someone to respect. Because wherever Saturn is, that represents time, but time that moves slowly in the process of breaking down and rebuilding, constantly breaking down and rebuilding until you get it better. So imagine having a parent where it's your job to learn how to, say you're building Legos, and every time you build, you're not building neatly. You're not building the Legos in a way that is representative to your tradition, to your culture, to how you were taught things are supposed to be. So because the way you're building doesn't fit, Saturn just knocks it over and tells you, go do it again. You might feel that way when it comes to your life, because Saturn is your chart ruler, and our chart ruler is the planet that rules over the sign in our first house. So that means Saturn has a strong influence on all areas of your chart. So that means everything that you do, or all areas of your chart, whether the things you value, your family, your home, there will be a sense of responsibility when it comes to all aspects of your life. You will just naturally feel like a father figure, one who is responsible to hold things down, one who is responsible to take care of everybody and things, keep things going. For the earlier part of your life, you might find that it's like you could never catch a break. Never catch a break. It's like the minute you think you're getting ahead, you find yourself taking 2 steps back, because that's Saturn breaking it down and rebuilding it. But I feel like this is a good placement to have, because it is like wine. It gets better in time. It gets more valuable in time. It is more appreciative in time, like good wine. Like good wine is good the older it is, and I find that that is the case when it comes to Capricorns and Capricorn energy. Even being in a relationship with a Capricorn, in the beginning they are super distant, or seem super distant and cold, but the more you get to know them, the more fun they become, the more they open up and share parts of their personality that they won't show you in the beginning. And for Capricorns, it's all about seniority. Like even as a Capricorn rising, you might find that the longer you've known someone, the more value you put on the relationship with them. That's the same thing with Saturn in your chart. Over time, everything that you work at, you will only get better at it. So in this case, this is your self-image and your appearance and how people see you. After a while, your self-image and your appearance and how people see you will only keep getting better over time. Even though people might already see you as someone they respect and could look up to. But with Saturn being your chart ruler, it might be hard for you to see yourself this way, because you have this Saturn energy influence everything, where you are constantly thinking things aren't good enough when they are actually great. I hope this video was helpful. Please don't forget to like this video, subscribe to this channel, and let me know your experience with your rising sign, or just whatever it is that you might want to share with me in the comment box below, because I really appreciate hearing from you guys and just the back and forth communication. I look so forward to seeing you in the next video.